The Golden State Warriors are very careful about speaking on Curry's injury because of this. Steph Curry is currently sidelined with a condition known as runner's knee, which is basically from his body is breaking down after years of carrying the franchise. And while head coach Steve Kerr continues to provide vague updates about progress in light shooting drills, the reality of the situation is that the superstar has not played a single game in over 30 days. The team is currently sitting at a mediocre 31 wins and 30 losses, which puts them right on the edge of the play-in tournament. Yet there is zero sense of urgency from the front office to get their best player back into the lineup before the season slips away entirely. To make matters even worse, the blockbuster trade for Kristaps Porzingis has turned into a complete nightmare because the big man is dealing with severe Achilles tendonitis and a recurring illness that has kept him glued to the bench since he arrived in town. Jimmy Butler was supposed to be the missing piece for a deep playoff run, but he is still stuck in the middle of a grueling recovery from a major knee surgery, meaning the Warriors are paying huge money to 3 stars who are currently not playing. This entire season has become a huge disappointment because the front office decided to mortgage the entire future of the team by trading away young assets for players who simply cannot stay healthy enough to compete at a high level. Please like and subscribe for daily NBA videos. I tell you all news immediately for all teams. I see people saying that Steve Kerr is conducting a massive cover-up to keep the fans buying expensive tickets and watching the games on television even though he knows the season is already over. Every single time a reporter asks about the health of the franchise icon, Kerr gives the same scripted answer about how things are looking up and how the medical staff is being cautious with the recovery timeline. It feels like a total slap in the face to the loyal fans who spend their hard-earned money to see their hero play, only to find out at the last minute that he is sitting on the bench in a suit once again. There is no transparency coming from the organization right now, and it is very obvious that they are trying to manage the public relations disaster that comes with having a $60 million player sitting at home during a playoff race. If the injury was actually as minor as they claim, there is no way that a competitor like Curry would stay away from the court for this long while his team struggles to stay relevant in the Western Conference. They are stringing us along with false hope because they are afraid of the backlash that will happen once everyone realizes the dynasty is truly finished. The decision to trade away Jonathan Kuminga is looking like one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and I honestly think the front office is looking stupid with how badly they botched this move. Kuminga was the only bright spot for the future of this team. A young and explosive athlete who is finally turning into a reliable scoring option next to the veterans. To trade him away for a player like Kristaps Porzingis, who has a history of being injured more often than he is healthy, is a level of incompetence that is hard to put into words. We are watching a young star reach his full potential at Atlanta, while Warriors are stuck watching a team that is too old and too slow to keep up with the modern pace of the game. This trade has completely sucked the life out of the building and left the remaining players wondering if there is even a plan for the next 5 years. But it gets even crazier. I would not be surprised if the Warriors are trying to tank where they are losing games on purpose to ensure they get a high draft pick this summer. There is no other logical explanation for why they would be so conservative with their star players while they are still technically in the hunt for a postseason spot. They realize that this current roster is not good enough to beat the top teams in the league, so they are strategically holding back their best assets to preserve them for a run in 2027. It is a calculated move to avoid the embarrassment of losing in the play-in tournament, and instead, they want to reset the deck with a high-end talent from the next draft class. This is a complete betrayal of the win-now mentality that they have preached for the last decade, but they would rather lose in private than get exposed on the national stage. They are essentially waving the white flag and hoping that nobody notices until the season is officially in the books. The medical staff in San Francisco needs to be held accountable for the absolute disaster that has occurred with the health of this roster over the last few months. It seems like every single week there is a new update about a soft tissue injury or a setback that keeps a key player off the floor for another month. When you have a roster full of older players, your training staff should be the best in the world. Yet the Warriors seem to be failing at every single turn when it comes to recovery and prevention. The fact that Steph Curry has a weird injury that nobody can quite explain is a huge red flag regarding how they are managing the physical workload of their aging superstar. They are letting these players break down right in front of our eyes and then acting surprised when the results on the court are terrible. There is a serious lack of trust developing between the players and the people responsible for keeping them healthy, and that is a recipe for a complete organizational collapse. The dream of the two timelines that Joe Lacob talked about for so many years has finally come crashing down in the most painful way possible for this fan base. He thought he could keep the veteran core together while building a group of young stars to take over the mantle, but instead, he ended up with a mess of expensive contracts and no young talent left to show for it. The trade for Buddy Hield and the move for Porzingis were desperate attempts to fix a problem that was created by poor drafting and a lack of vision for the post-Curry era. Now we are left with a team that is neither young enough to be exciting nor good enough to be a contender, leaving the organization in the worst place a professional team can be. It is the middle of the road where you are too good to get a top pick but too bad to actually win anything of importance. But listen to this. Draymond Green is the one person I truly feel bad for in this situation because he is being asked to lead a group of role players and newcomers while the rest of the stars are sitting on the sidelines. He is still playing at an elite level on the defensive end, but you can see the frustration on his face as he watches the lead slip away in the fourth quarter because there is no one else to make a play. He is a winner who thrives on high-stakes competition, yet he is being forced to participate in a season that is going absolutely nowhere. He has to be wondering why he signed an extension to stay with a team that is willing to throw away a year of his remaining prime just to save some money on the luxury tax. Draymond is the heartbeat of this team, and when you break his spirit by not providing him with a competitive roster, you are essentially killing the culture of the entire locker room. The lack of transparency from this organization is the most disappointing part of this entire ordeal because they are treating the fans like they are not smart enough to see what is happening. Just tell the fans that Steph Curry is out for the season. This constant cycle of being day to day or week to week is exhausting, and it ruins the connection between the team and the community. This season is a failure, and it is time to admit it so the healing process can actually begin for the city and the players. The Golden State Warriors used to be the gold standard for how to run a basketball team, but right now, they look like a lost franchise with no direction and no hope. Should the Warriors just trade Steph Curry this summer to let him win one more ring while they finally commit to a full rebuild? Or is Joe Lacob too arrogant to admit that his two timelines plan has officially destroyed the franchise? Please like and subscribe for more daily NBA videos.